Hello Art 1-2. Welcome to your demonstration on how to draw the fish. You will need another sheet of your biggest final draft paper. Your practice or rough draft paper you can turn horizontally. You're going to draw the fish on this paper first. It will turn out better on this one. I'm going to draw on final draft so that you can see what it would look like. But again, you're following the video to draw on this paper first, then you're going to draw it again on your final draft. And just so you know, your final draft papers will become your actual final draft that you will put patterns on. Okay, so once you get to your final draft, the first thing you're going to do is to draw your borders. So you're going to line your ruler up along the side, trace all the way around. I'm drawing a little bit heavier and dark so that you can see it, but remember all the lines that you make on your final draft should be extremely light. In the end, we don't want to see any of your pencil. Okay, so then I want my nomenclature or my name. So I have first name, last name, and period. Notice how my paper is horizontal because the fish is wider than it is tall. So we're going to have horizontal practice paper, horizontal final draft. Okay, so remember, you're doing all the steps on the practice first. The first step is to divide this space into thirds horizontally. So I'm going to divide into thirds, and I'm going to pull that guideline across. Then I'm going to divide it into thirds vertically. So just going to kind of eyeball it, maybe a little bit over. And I'm going to pull that guideline down. So this is super lightly done in pencil for you. So this gives us room for the body of the fish, the top fin, the bottom fin, and the back fin. Next, we're going to block in the shape of the body of the fish. So I recommend doing this holding your pencil at the end, your old school wooden pencil, your drawing pencil. Of course, I'm doing this with marker so you can see it. And I kind of look at how this a little bit looks like a fat oval or a little bit like a teardrop shape. So I'm going to super lightly, holding my pencil at the end, I'm going to throw on a body that then I can go back and erase the lines and keep the lines that I want. Your next step is to add a circle for the tail spacing. So we have this space here on the fish. We're going to add a circle on the end so that we have a little bit of extra space past the body before the fins start. Your next step is to draw guidelines for where the fins line up with the body. So where the top fin lines up and the bottom fin and the tail fin. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate a little bit, and this one is almost lining up at the bottom and almost lining up at the bottom. Okay, and then the back circle will help you with the tail fin guidelines for width, so where it connects to the body. Next, you're going to draw the negative spaces. So we're just going to do this big one here, and that one we'll do when we draw. So this is an enclosed negative space, and that will help you draw this fin, and it will help you draw that fin. So I'm kind of looking at how the body's curved, and it curves up a little bit, curves in, down. This one curves a little bit where it attaches, curves up slightly, and down. So do not fill this in on your final draft, but you now have this negative space that helps you draw the positive space of the fins. So just leave the outline in pencil on your final draft. Your next step is to draw guidelines for each of the fins. So we have 15 of them. It's really easy to get lost in all those fins. So when I'm drawing guidelines, I'm paying attention to the length and direction. So how tall, this is like the tallest one, what direction does it flow, but also the spacing. So notice how this one looks like a V shape, V. But this one is a little more curved, like a U shape. These are definitely U shapes in the spaces. All right, so I'm also giving myself a placement so when I draw, I'm not getting lost. Come up a little bit. This one comes over. This one comes up and over. But this one is shorter than this one. Okay, we have a little fin sticking up from the back. And then I'm going to use the circle for the tail fin. So I do look at how close these are and how tall they are. So this next one I would say is maybe like here. And so you can give yourself like a little guideline of where that one, actually this one should come up a little bit, Here. Okay, we have that one that comes out and these two almost line up with each other. We have this one that points down, this one that comes up and points out. Then we have one that comes down and points out. Notice how these three in the back almost line up with each other. All right, then we have an additional one that then starts pointing down. So it changes direction. And then you have one that curves in. And then you have this one that is on the edge of that negative space. The same for this one. So I'm just gonna give myself like a little bit of a guideline saying, hey, it sticks out to about here. And then I have the second one that curves up and hides underneath that little piece. And then we have the last one. Okay. So now you're ready to slowly follow your eye along and draw the contour outline. Remember, we are not drawing any of the detail inside of the fish, none of the polka dots. The eye is not there. This one's had a fin on it. I ripped it off because people kept wanting to draw that fin. We're just focusing on the outline of it. So I do want to show you the curvature of the mouth. And so that's where I start because that's like the easiest part to draw. So I'm going to look at how it curves in, curves out. All right, then I'm going to follow along the top. And so the guideline is that general area. And if you have to adjust it as you're drawing, that's okay. Mine will probably get adjusted slightly. That's a bigger space for that one. So remember, you're drawing as lightly as you can. I do recommend holding your pencil in the middle. If, like when you're doing your guidelines on the paper, then I would hold it at the end, like a little wand, because all of these guidelines and everything that you're laying down before you draw will get erased on the one that you pick for your final draft. So add that little fin there. My V shape. And I look at how the fins are a little bit thicker where they attach to the body or to each other. And yes, I am drawing with markers, you can see it, but obviously I'd be much more comfortable drawing with pencil. So if you make a mistake, you draw super lightly so that you can erase it and you can fix it. Okay, so then I have a space that comes all the way up to here. So I look at how those two spaces almost line up with each other. So I could give myself a little mark, like, hey, that space comes in about here. That might help you, giving yourself a little stopping point. and it curves in, and then this fin almost touches and it's shorter. A little bit thicker right there. Okay, so now I'm into my negative space. So I feel like that fin got a little bit thick. I would erase it and fix it. It did get a little bit thick there. So I have been drawing for, I don't know, since seriously drawing since I was in high school like you guys. And so it's been a lot of years. And I still make mistakes. But if you draw very lightly, then your mistakes aren't seen by other people. People just believe that you're like the best drawer ever because nobody can see where you have erased. And then I'm going to go back and add in that negative space in here. So I have, don't shade this on your final draft, but I have that one. Okay, so I feel like this bottom fin totally needs to curve in a little bit more. It's a much thinner. Okay, and then pretend like that's erased. I feel like this one as well needs to come up. So before I say like, oh, I'm almost done, I'm gonna kind of take a step back and look at it and make sure like this is the best drawing that I can do, just in case I choose this one for my final draft. So I would fix that one. I would go back and probably thin this one out a little bit. I feel like this part needs to be a little bit thicker right here, actually. Come up a little bit. So then I would kind of adjust. Before saying I'm totally done. Okay, good luck.